In this video, I will show you interesting projects that we recently filmed at manufacturing facility in California, USA. The security system at this site was fully modernized. The project included a new network, video surveillance, access control, entrance gate management, and one platform to manage everything together. But one completely different part of this project caught my attention the most. Even with all this modern infrastructure, visitors were still being registered in a traditional paper logbook. And I think many of you still see the same paper logs at factories, warehouses, and office buildings. In our case, Integrator did more than simply move this process into a digital format. They adapted the system to the customer's specific requirements and created a custom dashboard that stores the visitor information and the complete history of their visits. Today, I will show you how this solution works, why this approach was selected, and why projects like this clearly show the value of a good system integrator. Okay, maybe a few words about project background. A few weeks ago, I flew to Los Angeles, where I was invited by YesTechie team. They wanted to show me a few of their latest projects, and together we filmed videos about them. And this is actually my favorite way to create content. Not at trade shows or exhibition booths, but at real customer sites where you can talk to the system integrator, end user, and they see the technology in everyday use and understand what problems it actually solves for the businesses. I also find that these visits are where you learn the most, not from product presentations, but from the people who design, install, and support the systems every day, and from the customers who use them in their daily operations. So about project. This project was completed at a large manufacturing facility. The site includes multiple production areas, office spaces, warehouses, parking lot, entrance gates, and several access points for employees and visitors. For a facility like this, cameras alone or access control alone are not enough. Everything has to work together. That is why the network, video surveillance, access control, and gate management were all upgraded and integrated into one platform. But as we learned later, the most interesting part of this project was something that was never part of the original scope of the work. Again, about modernizing of the security system. For the YesTechie team, this wasn't an unusual project. Over the past few years, they have completed many similar projects where customers, like enterprise-level companies, wanted one platform for networking, video surveillance, access control, alarm systems. And for this project, they chose the UniFi ecosystem. And one of the reasons was that UniFi is a license-free platform. Once the customer purchases the hardware, there are no monthly software subscriptions to pay. At the same time, the customer received a modern security system with AI video analytics, face recognition for access control, mobile gate management, and one interface to manage the entire infrastructure. At this point, the project could have been considered complete. But while talking with the customer, the YesTechie team noticed another business process that had nothing to do with original security installation. Visitor registration was still being done with a traditional paper logbook. That was the moment they decided to solve this problem as well. Few words about paper logbook and the solution. So, while talking with the customer, YesTechie learned that the facility receives a large number of visitors every day. These include contractors, suppliers, delivery drivers, service technicians, business partners, and other guests who need access to the site. For a business like this, keeping a complete visitor history is very important. And it's not only for security, but also for day-to-day operations. They need to know who visited the facility, when they were there, and be able to find that information quickly whenever it's needed. Before this project, everything was recorded in a traditional paper logbook. And honestly, there is nothing unusual about that. You can still find paper visitor logs at many manufacturing facilities, warehouses, and the commercial buildings. The problems comes later, when you need to find a visitor from a specific date, check someone's visit history, and search through hundreds of handwritten records. That is where YesTechie team saw opportunity to improve the process. Instead of simply replacing the paper logbook with a digital one, they integrated visitor registration into the same platform that was already managing the entire security system. Why they chose UniFi Kiosk? It's interesting. I first met the YesTechie team back in 2025 at the UniFi conference in Miami. That was also where Ubiquiti introduced UniFi Kiosk for the first time. Every guest, including us, registered through the kiosk, and we didn't just watch a product demo, we actually used it ourselves. Later, the YesTechie team told me that after seeing it at the conference, they realized it could be a great solution for many of their existing and future customers. So when this customer had a similar need, they already knew exactly how they wanted to implement it. Of course, you can build similar solution on other platforms, like Verkada. But for this project, one of the biggest advantages of UniFi was that there are no monthly software subscriptions. The customer invested in the hardware once and received a fully functional system without ongoing license costs. The next step was to adapt the solution to the customer's real business processes. So now let me show you how the system works in practice. There are two main visitor registration scenarios. The first one is for scheduled visits. A company employee registers a visitor in advance and sends them QR code by email or any other convenient method. When the visitor arrives, they simply scan the QR code at the kiosk. The system automatically prints a personalized visitor badge with a new QR code that is used to access authorized areas inside the building. The visitor doesn't have to fill out any paperwork. The whole process takes just a few seconds. The second scenario is for walk-in visitors who arrive without a pre-scheduled appointment. In this case, the visitor enters their information directly at the kiosk and takes a photo. The request is immediately sent to a responsible employee for approval. The employee can review the information, approve or deny the request. If approved, the system prints the visitor badge automatically, and the visitor receives access only to the areas they are authorized to enter. From that point on, the badge works like a regular access card. The visitor scans it at the UniFi Access Reader Pro, and the entire visit history is automatically recorded in the system. And maybe you ask, why custom solution was needed? So, in my opinion, this is where the project becomes really interesting. One of the biggest advantages of the UniFi platform is that once you purchase the hardware, you get all the software features and future updates without paying for additional licenses or subscriptions. But sometimes a business has requirements that are not yet available in the standard software. In this project, for example, the customer needed a simple dashboard where they could quickly search for any visitor, filter record by name, company, phone number or email, view visitor photos, check visit dates, and access the complete visitor history. At that time, the standard UniFi Access interface didn't provide this level of archive management. And this is where, in my opinion, you really see the difference between installer and system integrator. Instead of waiting for future software updates, the YesTechie team developed their own custom dashboard that works together with UniFi Access and gives the customer exactly the functionality they needed. In the end, the customer received exactly the solution they were looking for: a modern security system, digital visitor registration, custom dashboard, and full control over all their data. Everything works together as one system and helps employees every day. That is probably what I liked most about this project. A good system integrator doesn't try to change how business operates. Instead, they first understand the customer's existing processes and then use technology to make them simpler, more efficient, and easier to manage. That is exactly why we create videos like this. We don't just meet equipment manufacturers at trade shows. We also visit real customer sites, talk with system integrators and business owners to see how these technologies work in everyday operations and what value they actually bring. If you're a system integrator and have interesting project that made a real difference for your customer, I would love to hear from you. We would be happy to visit your site, film your project, and share your story with our audience. And if you manage a business and you are planning to modernize your infrastructure, I highly recommend talking with a few different system integrators. Very often they can suggest solutions that you may not even know exist. If you need help finding the right system integrators, feel free to contact me directly or visit Pipl Systems website. We work with system integrators, showcase their projects, and help businesses connect with the right technology partners. If you would like to learn more about the technical side of this project, I highly recommend watching the full video on the YesTechie YouTube channel. They go into much more detail about the hardware, network configuration, and complete implementation. So, thank you for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe Pipl Systems YouTube channel. We have many more real-world projects coming from Canada, United States, and beyond. Thank you. Goodbye.
Need a security system installed? Finding a trusted, qualified integrator isn't easy. Pipl Systems is a platform to find verified, professional security integrators. Browse by location, see real projects, and choose a company you can actually trust. Pipl Systems. Find your trusted security integrator today.